Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome back to another Market Open stream. Happy Monday. Today is looking pretty darn good. It's the last week of October. Are we going to see October finally? I think so. Get ready for Bitcoin's breakout. That is today's title. Let's see what's happening today and let's see what's happening for Bitcoin this week. And then we're starting out pretty good. So let's do it. Let's do it. Welcome, 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 guys. Right now, we are, let's see, oops, I got my screen all mixed up here. My screen right now is showing 68.6 right now, or 68.9, 68.8. Yeah, that's right. 68.8. Wait, no, am I starting it? No. Hold on. Hold on. Did I start yet? Hello? Hello? Am I streaming on the right key? Am I live or am I not live? Okay, I'm live. Okay. I am live. Okay. Okay, I'm getting confused here because my thing was saying I'm not live and then I am live and then, okay, I'm getting all confused. My setup is like all confused. Yeah, my thing is giving me conflicting argument. Yeah, conflicting data. Anyways, let's get started. Sorry. Okay, now I'm live. Anyways, it does not matter because it's looking good. It's looking good regardless. If it was bad, it was bad. It's good. So we're live. All right, we're starting out the day 69,000 basically. Our recent high from a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, we touched about 69.5 before coming down, right? We had a couple volatile days, or I'd say, yeah, days. We like last Sunday, not yesterday, but the week before, we went from like 69 all the way down to like 65. Then last week, you know, we went up a couple times to 68.8 and then like boom down here, 68.7, boom down here. Now we're getting back above 69,000. Looks like we're going to try to break 69.7 possibly today and then head into 70,000 today, right? That's what's looking like. Today is the last day of October. Let's see what's going to happen. We're starting out the week pretty good. Broader market just didn't refresh yet. But man, look at MicroStrategy up almost 6% already today. Coinbase up almost nearly as much, about 5%. And if you're a real degen, you want to go with 2x MicroStrategy, well, you're looking at plus 12% today. That is going insane right now. And Nvidia up a little bit, Tesla down a little bit. But today, looking pretty good day. And plus, we're 1 week away from, 2 weeks away from election, a big election in the US. And a lot of people are kind of front running their investments ahead of that. So this week, there are no Fed speakers. finally, okay? Those Fed speakers, you know what? Generally speaking, they don't say anything. Nothing that's important. Powell is the only one that we care about. And at this point in time, there's really nothing else you could say before the next FOMC meeting. Okay, so right now, it's like, okay, we know what's coming up. There are going to be economic data. That's fine, but we got rate cuts coming up. That's good. 25 basis points in November, 25 basis points in December. Good. But right now, what everyone's waiting for is that election, right? The big election, policies, new ones coming up. That's what everyone's waiting for. And not only that, right? The upcoming rate cuts that are coming. But yeah, we got a lot of economic data. We'll see if any of these really make a difference this week, unless they come out with really drastically bad or good numbers. If they're in line, I don't think they're going to make any difference. However, if there's something like, say, inflation coming in super high, which would be bad, or GDP coming in super low, one of these, coming in super high, super low, that may affect markets. But if it's just coming in slightly below or slightly above or in line, I don't think we're going to see much this week. Because again, I think people are just going to be front running their investments this week and next week, because last week, October, and plus we got about a week and a half before, no, basically 1 week, really one full week before elections. And I think everyone is just trying to beef up what they can before that happens. So it'll be an interesting week. I think it's going to be a really, really, really interesting week this week. It'll be really interesting this week. I guess we'll see. We're starting out the week pretty good so far. All right. Speaking of front running, Metaplanet, who's not in the US, in Japan, has become Asia's largest Bitcoin holder with 1,000 Bitcoin. See, that's the thing about DCAing. A lot of people I saw on X, this is why X is horrible, all right? You got a lot. X is mostly filled with trolls, okay? People that are miserable. And I saw when Metaplanet started, DCAing, and people were making fun of who cares if Metaplanet buys $1 billion worth of yen of Bitcoin? It's nothing. It's like $2 million worth of Bitcoin. And you got all these trolls making fun of Metaplanet, yet when they're living in their mom's basement and can't afford anything. But throughout this year, they've been DCAing. Now they have 1,000 Bitcoin, and that's close to $70 million worth of Bitcoin. That's significant. And that $70 million will probably turn into 300, 400 million by the end of this cycle. And then by the end of the next cycle could be in the billions. That's the whole point of DCA, right? And now, even today, 1,000 Bitcoin is no joke. That's no chump change. That is a whole lot of Bitcoin, right? This is the whole point of DCA. It doesn't matter how big you are. Of course, 1,000 Bitcoin to, say, someone like Michael Saylor, that's nothing because he has 250,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, it's nothing to someone like him, but to an average retail investor, how many retail investors have 1,000 Bitcoin? Basically none, right? So it doesn't matter. Everyone can start out, but the power of DCA is the same. Doesn't matter if you're a retail investor, you're a public traded company, you're an institution, right? You have to start somewhere, and it adds up over time. And this is very significant, not only from a holding perspective, but their stock, just like MicroStrategy, has been flying like sky high. This is another reason why someone like Microsoft is actually putting a vote to see if they should invest in Bitcoin. Maybe the board doesn't like it, but the shareholders definitely are paying attention. The shareholders may be voting yes because all the companies that have been investing and buying Bitcoin and putting on their balance sheet, their stocks have been skyrocketing, just like MicroStrategy. Now, with today's rise, they're probably above $50 billion in market cap. They have outperformed even NVIDIA, and that is no small feat. The way they're going, they may be a $100 billion company by the end of next year, maybe even higher, maybe like a $200 billion company. Do you realize how large that is? That's like the size of Walt Disney. That's the size of like Netflix. Just for a company to hold Bitcoin to be the size of Disney or Netflix or Coca-Cola, that is crazy if you think about it. But that's where they're heading. Anyways, that's where Metaplan is heading to, right? They just keep DCAing, and it's the same thing with retail investors. Just DCA. Just DCA. Samara Assets also earlier last week said the same thing. They're issuing 30 million euros to buy Bitcoin. So I mean, it's like it's the same thing. Same thing all around. And for, you know, companies that can't buy Bitcoin itself, I guess the next best thing is, well, you could buy MicroStrategy stock, or you could buy Bitcoin ETFs. I would say, you know, for selfish reasons, buy Bitcoin ETFs are better because, you know why? Those funds actually have to go buy physical Bitcoin, right? If you buy MicroStrategy stock, Saylor doesn't have to buy Bitcoin with it, but he probably will because he's going to just raise more debt to go buy Bitcoin. We know he's going to do that, but he doesn't have to. But if you buy ETFs, they legit have to buy more Bitcoin because that's how it works. And that is what's happening. Last week, 15,000 Bitcoin was bought by the ETFs, and only 3,000 was mined. That's actually, I thought there was actually a lot more bought, but still, that's 5x the number. And just look at Friday. Friday, a massive $402 million inflow, mostly again due to BlackRock. BlackRock's appetite, if you haven't been paying attention, have increased dramatically in the last 2 weeks. Almost a 300 million inflow by themselves on Friday, but just look at it. 165, 317, and then here's a 330, 309, 393, 290. I mean, today could be another 300, 400 the way we're going right now. BlackRock's appetite cannot be satisfied at this point. And all this is a precursor to Bitcoin's breakout. You could see right here, this is charting the ETF's holdings breakout. You could see that since March, the ETFs have been up and down, up and down. We have inflows and outflows, but BlackRock's the only one that's been inflowing, but everything else has been outflowing, inflowing. But now we're definitely seeing a breakout of inflows. Everything is inflowing, not just BlackRock. Everything is inflowing. So what does this mean? This is a precursor. Just like how MicroStrategy has been breaking out. It broke out from its March high. That's number one. Number two, now you're seeing the ETF holdings breaking out. Right? What's number three? Bitcoin breaking out from its March high. It's that simple, right? Just do the math. You already had two huge signals that showed, okay, that are in correlation with Bitcoin, that have broken out. Of course, the next step is Bitcoin itself breaking out. So I think it's coming. Is it this week? Quite possibly. We're so close anyways. We're not that far off. That's why in my Sunday walk video yesterday, there are a lot of people that are like still very bearish about October. And I made the conclusion it has to be that way because those people are the ones that are holding very little Bitcoin. They're holding a lot of alts, and all the alts are not moving right now besides maybe Solana. And I get how you could feel that way, but if you're a Bitcoin holder, we're virtually basically at all-time high. You can't be bearish if you're a Bitcoin holder. But if you're just like a sole altcoin holder, I could see how you're bearish. But if you're a Bitcoin holder, there's no way you could be. Okay. So basically, as of right now, we're anticipating that breakout. We will break through that 73,000 high that we formed in March. And it's coming very, very soon. When you have massive inflows into the ETFs and massive buying overall, it's only going to lead to one thing. It's going to lead the price upwards. It's just really that simple. And here's a staggering stat. The ETFs are only 23,000 Bitcoin away from holding 1 million Bitcoin. That is almost 5% of the supply. That would be equivalent of Satoshi's own holding. So between the ETFs and Satoshi, that is 10% of all Bitcoin in existence. So that means Wall Street, just from the US, Wall Street alone, has caught up to Satoshi in 9 months span. That's how quick they have caught up. So that's 10% of supply. Now, if you think about it, a lot of people have theorized at least 10%, if not more, of Bitcoin supply has been lost forever due to lost keys and broken hard drives and so forth. It could be even more than that. So if you take that into account, and then how much is being held by miners and long-term holders and everyone else in between, there's not that much Bitcoin to go around. Again, a lot of people don't understand this. They think there's infinite amount of Bitcoin that there will always be for purchase. There's not. That's why the price continues to go up every single cycle, and it gets more and more expensive because it's becoming more and more scarce. That's why the price goes up. That's why the high and the low of every cycle goes up. That's why the low of this cycle is 5 times higher than the low of the last cycle. That's how it works. And the low of last cycle is 4 times higher than the low of the last cycle. Because of the scarcity factor. So, enough about lows. What about the highs, right? So the last high was 69,000. What is the high of this cycle? That's what we're still trying to figure out. That we will figure out next year. That's what we're waiting for. That's what we're all waiting for that. Stock to flow. Plan B says Bitcoin will jump an order of magnitude in the 18 months after the halving, as it always did, based on stock to flow. Although he himself said the stock to flow was invalidated last cycle. But now he has turned back and said, no, we're still going back to stock to flow. So I don't know. I mean, he himself has said stock to flow is broken. At some point, he said stock to flow was going to be invalidated because it's just this power of 10 is just not going to be, you can't go with it all the time. Because if we are back on track, it would mean that Bitcoin would hit $1 million by the end of the cycle. I just don't see that. I don't see Bitcoin going to $1 million by the end of the cycle. But I think we'll go a lot higher than here. But if we do go to $1 million, I would love that. I don't think anyone would complain about that. But again, no one knows where we're going to go. Are we going to go to 200,000, 250, 300? This one is projecting 400,000. Hey, if we can hit 400,000 by July timeframe, who knows? Maybe we will hit $1 million by November or December this year. It just really depends on how crazy the FOMO is. Right now, you know, these ETFs are buying, you know, billions per week. Sometime in 2025, if they're buying billions per day and we're seeing tens of billions per week, you know, the FOMO really escalates, hey, at that point, things could really be flying. Because at that point, even the OTC market will be saturated, or I mean, dried up, I should say. And where's the Bitcoin going to come from? Directly from spot market. If the OTC market dries up and these ETFs have to buy from somewhere, guess where? They're going to buy straight off of Coinbase. I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen. I've speculated this for a long time, since the beginning, and it hasn't happened yet, but it will happen. One day, these ETFs are going to be taking in so much money that they have to buy so much Bitcoin afterwards, after the market closes, and they go to these exchanges, and exchanges are like, I don't have enough to sell you in the OTC market. So what are they going to do then? Like they have to get the Bitcoin somewhere. If the miners don't have any to sell and the exchanges don't have any to sell, what are they going to do? Like, I legitimately want to know what happens then. We have seen in prior cycles when the exchanges run out of Bitcoin. Some of you guys may have been around in 2017. I have been around when Coinbase actually ran out of Bitcoin. And when they did that, they raised their price of Bitcoin by thousands higher than Binance and everyone else. I remember there was a point where I forgot at what level, but Coinbase's Bitcoin was like 5,000 more than everyone else's, because there was a point in time where they literally ran out of Bitcoin because of FOMO, and they jacked up the price just so people would stop buying. So I have seen that before, and I'm just wondering what would happen next year if the ETFs taken so much money that exchanges can't even sell it to them on the OTC market. That would be insane. Well, we'll see what happens if that does happen. All right. Mustache is trying to remind us that we have broken out of this giant cup and handle 3.5 years in the making, and I've shown you guys this too. We have broken out the handle part. We haven't seen that giant pump yet, right, from that handle. But once we do, it's going to look like this, and you know, the next leg up is going to be tremendous. We haven't seen it yet. We're waiting for it. Could be 80, 90, 100, 158,000. Who knows? Just a matter of time. I still think we still have a good chance to hit 100,000 by the end of this year. This week, we still have a good chance to break a new high and go even higher. And then that will lead us into November and then lead us into December. So let's see. And then for those of you guys that are depressed about alts, and I know a lot of you guys are depressed about alts, like what's going on with alts? Why are alts not moving? Why does it seem like it's never going up? Well, Bitcoin dominance is going up. Bitcoin dominance always goes up. This time around, it's going up even more because institutions and companies are buying a boatload of Bitcoin, right? Some are speculating that Bitcoin dominance will come down, and that's when alts will go back up. I don't know if it's going to come back down now. Some are charting Bitcoin dominance. I think alts will get their turn. I don't know if it's going to be soon. It's going to come eventually, but I do think when, again, I said this in yesterday's video, in my Sunday walk video, I do think when retail investors right now are just scared because there's been so many fake outs. Retail investors don't know what to think. I do think once Bitcoin breaks into all-time high, they get reassured that, yeah, we are forming the next leg up. We are moving according to how things have always been. Then retail investors will be more comfortable coming back in, putting their money into alts, and we'll see that kind of those in the like mini altcoin seasons as we move forward. But right now, I think a lot of retail investors are just kind of scared, and the money coming in are all from big institutions that are just purely buying Bitcoin right now, right? These big institutions are not going to come in and buy, Pepe. They're not going to do that. They're not going to buy even some of the smaller or even the big chains because they're purely focused on Bitcoin, right? They're not even coming in to buy Ethereum at this point. They're just buying Bitcoin. So that's why Bitcoin dominance has been so strong. But eventually they'll come back. But this cycle is definitely led by the institutions, not led by retail, not like any previous cycle before. So you just have to have patience, right? All right. Lastly, last Friday, we did have some Tether FUD. I don't know. It's been verified. Tether themselves have said, no, we don't have anyone investigating us. But in case you're curious, Tether has been investigated 19 times over the years since the very beginning till now. And I don't know if it's true, but, even last 2023, 2022, 2021, every single year they've been investigated, and somehow they have lived throughout all of that, been fined, but have never really been proven to done anything so bad that they've been shut down. They've just always been fined. And now they're making so much money. I don't see how they can not get out of this, but we'll see. I mean, they're literally printing money at this point. That's how much money they're making. And lastly, as for Sol has flipped PayPal in market cap. That's kind of crazy. Last week they broke the market cap of Chipotle. This week they broke the market cap of PayPal, in case you're wondering. All right. Philadelphia district attorney sues Elon Musk to stop the $1 million lottery for voters. I knew that was coming. That was just a weird thing. I don't know why Elon does stuff like that. Just focus on rockets, focus on FSD. Stop focusing on paying voters $1 million to vote. It's just so strange. Anyways, MicroStrategy is still doing awesome. 52-week high again today, up 6%, $250, $50 billion in market cap. Year-to-date change, 293%. Bitcoin goes up 5x. Let's just say it goes 5x. That means MicroStrategy in the next year, MicroStrategy will do at least a 5x, which means they would be at a 250 billion market cap next year, at least. So again, that would put them into, like the size of like Coca-Cola and Pepsi and Netflix and stuff. That's just crazy if you think about it. Coinbase, 213, 214. They haven't been this high for a while. Or 220. Actually, I take that back. They were 220, so they're still a little bit lower. All right, and the Bitcoin topped out a little bit here while I was talking. Topped out at 269.3, came down a little bit. Looking at the liquidation chart, let's refresh. So, liquidation wall. We got a little bit some long shorts would be liquidated at 69.3, 5, 6. That's a big one right there. 8 and 70. And then right here, 71, 70. Yeah, and then this goes up right here. See, 71.5. This is, we get a little push through this. If we get through this, we'll go jump, right? I think we could jump to like right over here if we did. So that would correlate to like right below this. If we get enough push and we could push through this, this will be hard. That's why we stopped here. This will be hard because we do have, that's like all this right here, right? So if we could push through this later today, that will push us here. And then if we could push a little bit more past this, we're going to go boom right here to 71.4. We'll see if that happens today. We'll see if that happens. We just need a bit more push. Today is looking good, so it could definitely happen. As for the rest of the, today Doge is doing very well. Out of the blue, Doge is doing very well, up about 6%. Everyone else is not. Like Sui is doing incredibly weak. I did warn you guys when it started coming down from like the 230 mark. I warned you guys. I think it could be going down because, you know, it went up so much. The whales are going to take profit, and now it's looking like they are. They're definitely taking profit. All right, let's do Q&A. Man, that's way too bright. All right, let me scroll up here. Litecoin pumping. I don't know about that. All right. It doesn't look like I missed much. Robert, does Cox seem to be in a breakout wedge to you? For like a meme like Cox, just don't try to chart it. because there's no need to. Joel Amos, do you think metaverse plays like Mana or Engine can make a comeback? I honestly don't think metaverses are going to come back. Not one single person I've ever talked to is talking about metaverses. Not even Facebook. Do you even hear about Zuckerberg talk about metaverses? Even he himself seems to have given up on metaverses. So I really think metaverses are not the trend anymore. Games are, but metaverses are not. Maybe they come back, but I just don't see them. I see it as a fad that's gone away. Ellie, would love to hear your opinion on Cypher, Soul Strategies. They're doing what MicroStrategy is doing with Bitcoin, but with Soul. Never heard of them, but I did hear about Soul Strategy. I covered them last week. It's an interesting concept, but It's not Bitcoin. So even though I love Solana, I don't know if like, you know, doing what they're doing with Solana is really going to do that much. I don't know. Sol Strategy, from when I covered them, it wasn't just based on buying Sol. It was just like trying to help Sol in a big way. So it could work, but I don't think they're doing exactly the same thing as MicroStrategy. They just renamed themselves as Sol Strategy, which is clever. It could work, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. I just don't see it having the same effect as backing Bitcoin at this point. But maybe next year, if Sol gets an ETF and it gets more interest and attention, it could work. Just tuned in. Thoughts on MGS Trump rally. I'm kind of shocked how good it was. Rally on both sides. No thoughts because I didn't watch it. What does it indicate when there's a gap between two green handles? What do you mean? I don't know. I don't know. Damn. Yeah, that's MicroStrategy, 7% today. I do have MicroStrategy stock, but I don't have options. I wish I bought options when they split. Man, it's just like, it's so obvious. I've told everyone, I told my family to go in on MicroStrategy because they have Bitcoin, but they have a lot of stocks. I'm like, it just makes sense. Bitcoin could go on MicroStrategy to explode. And it's right. Robinhood also makes a lot of sense too. And they've been doing very well. Coinbase, I don't know what it is with Coinbase. Coinbase should be moving like Robinhood like this, but somehow Coinbase has been suppressed. But I think Coinbase will start skyrocketing too. But I have no idea why like someone like Robinhood is actually doing better than Coinbase. But maybe because they're more stock focused, so I could see that. But MicroStrategy is just like on fire. They're just not stopping at this point. But everything else, like, you know, like Fetch or Singularity, not doing well. Pepe not doing well. Whiff not doing well. Sui not doing well. Definitely coming down. Hopefully they don't repeat what they did back in March where they just like went all the way down, lost all their momentum. Jupiter breaking out. That's pretty good. Sol breaking out. If they could break out at like the 180s, they'll definitely go back. Bitcoin, obviously, still waiting to break out, but not too far off from their high.